Just getting set up here. So for those of you that are watching this after I've done it, we are going to be going over one of my defensive tactics for protecting your guild hive. Just gotta get set up here. So as you can see, my screen here is a grid. I'm not actually going to be in game for this one. I'm going to be showing you an example of this because I don't have enough accounts to pull this off, and it would take a lot of guild coordination just to set it up. So it's a lot easier to show you here. As you can see, I have a diamond grid, same as Lord's Mobile. And we are going to create our little hive here. And of course, we all wish that our hives were this perfect shape. But as you know, they're not usually a perfect shape. They're usually some kind of like square, right? Some kind of square or rectangle. So we're just going to fill this in. This is going to be our hive. Alright? This might be a little small. Actually, no, this is actually a good size. Okay, so let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. My dog is bugging me. Can we zoom in? Is that a thing? I've only used this like one other time, this program. I just got it off of Google search. Found it on a Google search. Anyway, this blue over here is to outline where you guys cannot see, so I know not to draw over there. So basically, the idea of Minesweeper, if you've ever played Minesweeper, it's an old game where you randomly or strategically click areas on the game board, and your goal is to open up as many spaces as you can without hitting a mine, okay? So by the end of this video, you'll understand why I call this the Minesweeper tactic. I've used this several times, and it usually does deter people away, because people typically don't want to just throw their troops away. If they're going to attack, they're going to get something out of it. Resources, leader, something. They get something out of it. Unless they're trying to get troop kills, then they might stick around. But that's not very likely. Usually when people get troop kills, they look for easy targets, something that's not going to cost them troops. So, or a lot of troops. So basically, you have your hive here, and let's say a guy ports in. Alright? This guy is going to be a big jerk, and he's going to port right here in the middle of your hive in this like hole that, you know, he came over here and he scouted the camp, right? So he scouted the camp and then moved, right? Now he's sitting right here in the middle of your hive. And he's been here for several days. And what he does is he randomly attacks your guild members, right? He randomly attacks everyone. He waits for the shelters to end, and then he starts scouting, and he attacks. He gets everyone's leaders. And this guy's so big, there ain't jack squat you can do by yourself, right? Like, you can't attack him because he's too big. And he would eat all of your troops. So that creates a problem, right? It's hard to hold resources. It's hard to log in and make sure that shelter, although if you set alarms, you watch my other videos, this isn't a problem. But even if it's not your problem, it's still annoying to sit there and watch him attack your friends, right? So Minesweeper tactic is one of your best options here. So basically, what you would be doing, let's get down, dog. So let's get everybody in the guild on board with this, right? You send out a guild mail and you say, hey, if you can't use a shield, use an anti-scout. We're doing Minesweeper tactic. Sorry about that. The dog turned my chair and unplugged my microphone. So, as I was saying, what you can do is after everyone sets up the anti-scouts, you can coordinate with whoever has. So these darker blue spots are anti-scout castles, right? And you don't have to have every single guild member with an anti-scout, but you will want a good amount of them. Oop, there goes our enemy. Gotta put him back there. You do want a good amount of guild members with anti-scouts, right? Like, you want a good number of them to have anti-scouts. What this is going to do is confuse him, alright? So, if you're an enemy, and you're sitting in a hive trying to use them as a farm, as cattle, right? You're going to notice that people are throwing up anti-scouts. Now, the funny thing is that you've been sitting in this hive for 3 days, and you know most of these players don't have crap for troops, right? Like, you know that. You've scouted them, you've attacked them. They don't have troops. So, you're going to attack them anyway, regardless of the anti-scouts. Because you already know that they don't have anything. This is one of the big benefits of this. Alright? Of the Minesweeper tactic. Is that this guy knows what everyone has. Already. Alright? So, with these anti-scouts, he's going to start attacking people, and he's going to get very confident about attacking castles with anti-scouts, alright? Now, the one thing he doesn't know is that you all, as a team, have discussed which one of you has, or which one of your guild members has the large, I should say, not large, high-level embassies, alright? Now, these embassies hold troops, reinforcements, alright? So, you want to select at least one, if not maybe 3 or 4, depending on how many troops your guild has overall, because you will want to fill these castles up with reinforcements, alright? And what works better is if the players that are being the traps can be online, use their talents, their war gear, and have their leader out when the enemy attacks. Would make this a lot better with results because you have increased attack. And you don't want to leave your leader out all the time, because what they will do is they will attack that reinforced castle and zero out everything that's in there. So you'll want to take 1 or 2 hits, and right before you know your leader is about to get taken, you want to shelter your leader. Or send it into an 8-hour darkness rally or something like that. Something of that nature, to that effect. And what this is going to do is it's going to make this guy realize that you guys trapped him, alright? But what he doesn't understand is that you guys are going to heal up your troops in your infirmaries and send them back after he goes offline, or when he's not paying attention. So basically, you want to recycle your troops, alright, heal them up, and then send them back to those reinforced castles, alright? Send them back to the trap castles. If you have multiple of these, and you can change them every day, like you can have 3 people doing trap castles, right? And one day you use guy number 1, another day you use guy number 2, and the third day you use guy number 3. You change which castles are the trap castles every day. Keep this guy guessing, alright? Eventually, he's going to get tired of losing troops, and he's going to leave your hive. Alright? Now, very rarely, every once in a while, you will have a guy that will sit there and want the kills, alright? He'll want the numbers to make his castle look good. But eventually, even those guys leave because they realize how big of a loss they're taking. My guild essentially did this a couple KVKs ago with one of my alts. 700 million castle ported in and started attacking. We already had a trap set on one of my alts. This guy attacked my alt countless times, alright? Zeroed it out. I hid my leader. Everyone healed their troops, sent them all back. I pulled my leader back out. I'd say the guy zeroed my alt maybe 5 times, alright? But at the end of that 5 times, none of us lost might, and that guy dropped 25 million might of nothing but troops, alright? Granted, it was mostly T3, some of it, or not T3, T2. Most of it was T2, but there was a good chunk of T4 in there because he got tired of us eating his T2, so he started sending more T4 for more damage, right? And I kept hiding my war gear on my alt and swapping it back out. I don't know if he ever saw the war gear, but it was there, and we weren't capping his attacks, but we were taking huge chunks out of him. I mean, we were taking out like 60 to 80,000 dead troops every time he attacked my alt. And thanks to our guild members being online and constantly recycling, healing and sending their troops back, we were able to complete guild war. A lot of the guild members got solo war that weren't even gathering because of sending troops to my alt. So we basically did a minesweeper tactic for KVK, and it works really well. But you have to you have to have all of your guild members on board. I'll be answering questions in a moment if you have questions. But you have to have a bunch of guild members in on it. You have to be coordinated. And this takes a lot of effort as a guild. But if you guys can manage to do that, this is a very, very good tactic to take, especially for free-to-play guilds against big pay-to-play players that spend a lot of money on troops. I mean, think about it, though. If you just dropped like $50 or $100 yesterday, made a bunch of troops, and you just lost like 200,000 at this hive that you've been at for 3 days, you lost to 200,000 troops in like 1 day because they all of a sudden have anti-scouts and traps, you're not going to be too happy about that, right? Especially if it's like T3, T4. I don't think you'll be capping T5 because T5 players don't send straight T5 marches very often unless they're very confident. So T3, T4, maybe some T2 if they use some kind of meat shield in their march. But this trap style works very well. The only problem with this is it's not viable to run constantly unless you have a pay-to-play guild where you get anti-scouts constantly. But it does work really well. If you try to do it constantly without end, a lot of guild members will end up running out of anti-scouts, and it becomes a mess. But this is an easy tactic to run for like several days in a row when you have someone camping at your hive that won't go away. Alright, so hopefully this helped you guys out. Now I will be checking comments. Yeah, I'm not... I was pretty focused on this, so I wasn't really reading the comments. Sorry, Brady. No, I don't specifically remember you, but remember, I do have multiple recruitment guilds, and I see a lot of in-game names and stuff, so sometimes it's hard for me to remember everyone. Unless we had like some kind of exclusive chat or something where we became like buddy, I might remember you a little better, but in passing, it's really hard for me to remember names specifically, so yeah, if you gave me your IGN, I might have better luck remembering it. But yeah, guys, try this out. If you guys have questions, leave it in the comments, because obviously I'm not going to be online constantly, so try this tactic out. It works wonders. I've used this tactic for several years now. I don't have to use it very often. Most of our guild members do hide their troops. We have resource banks to send our resources to. So this kind of thing really isn't that much of a problem. But real quick, before I end this video, there is a type of player that usually has an alt similar to my Hammerhead, if you guys have watched my other videos, where they have speed ups and they will sit there and attack troops. They have stats. They will try to use those accounts to farm your hive. So this is a good tactic for them because they will attack you. They will attack weaker castles, but when you try to fight them, they won't attack you, and they'll try to get you to attack them, and then they will give you a bunch of dead troops. So those kind of guys, this is perfect for. I actually did this with a garrison trap, and I hurt the guy pretty bad. The funny thing is that he had been attacking that specific account multiple days. I had been watching him, and so I put an anti-scout on it for 2 days straight, and he attacked it every day multiple times with the anti-scout on. And one day I threw a garrison in there. He hit it twice. He hit the garrison twice. And even though I am free to play, this guy, his army, his march got completely capped on the first hit. Because I had my leader in the garrison. I was waiting for him. I had to sit online for like 4 hours and wait for him. But I knew what the morning time was for his country via my time. So I knew he was going to be coming on. So I sat online and waited for him. little much, but when you're trying to set a trap, you know, sometimes you do have to wait a little bit. But I waited for him. He sent one march, got capped, without scouting, or even seeing if it... I mean, he probably assumed it had an anti-scout, but he didn't bother scouting it at all. After the first attack, he sent a second attack, alright? I didn't cap the second attack, but he only had he had less than 10,000 survivors. I ate... Oh god, I ate so many troops. I wounded so many troops. And he stopped attacking anti-scout castles after that. So, basically, I gave out the information to the rest of the guild, let them know what happened, posted our the screenshots from the garrison trap through our third-party communication system, and everyone that is in our guild that uses that communication system got to see the battle reports. And I commented on it, and I'm like, guys, use anti-scouts. He's avoiding anti-scout castles now. So he doesn't attack us anymore. We moved the hive to get away from him because he had like 4 accounts. We figured we would just move the hive so we could close up the holes. We had to close up the holes anyway, and we thought it'd be easier to move because his guild was like 60 miles away from ours, so he would attack and then send resources to their bank. So we just moved our hive because their guild wasn't doing anything about him. They weren't stopping him, and they're being ridiculous. So bad neighbors, you know, it happens every once in a while. So we moved our hive, and he hasn't came back since. He showed up like once or twice during KVK, attacked a couple people, and then when we started reinforcing against him, he left. Because he knew what he was in for if he stayed, which was this Minesweeper tactic. So I've ran a lot of players off using this. So try it, coordinate it, teach it to your guild members, refer them to this video so they understand what the Minesweeper tactic is. And good luck protecting your hive, guys. Peace out, and I'll see you on the next one.